What's up, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to a brand new episode of the Politics and Punk Rock Podcast. I am Andrew for America, and I am very excited to get my 10th podcast started. Very excited. I made it to 10. I'm slowly realizing that I'm going to be able to pump out a lot of podcasts. I haven't even scratched the surface of half the stuff I want to talk about. So, I'm getting like one facet. I'm like in the middle of like one term paper right now. Like the whole big government New World Order. We need to develop ourselves. History is there for us to learn from, all the things I've been talking about, etc., 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 etc. How many times do I say etc.? You guys are going to start making fun of me because I say etc. all the time. Yeah, so welcome back. Come like the group, Andrew for America, Comedy and Commentary on Facebook, private group, send an invite. Send me an email if you want, andrewforamerica1984@gmail.com. Look me up, Andrew for America, on the Twitters. And yeah, today we're gonna get right into it. Today I want to start with something that's a little bit sad. This is a very sad story. But there are a lot of layers to it, and I could talk about this video and how much can be unpacked from this video. Soundbite for you, but you guys are gonna listen to a former, I think he's an Army or Marine officer, who recently committed suicide, sadly, and he decided to join the police force after he was out of the military. And he has some feelings about policing and what he is seeing from his fellow police officers. And he talks about a lot of stuff, similar themes to what I've been trying to tell you guys about. And, I'm just going to warn you right now. It's sad. This is a sad story. So, but the point I'm trying to make by playing it for you and what I'm going to talk about afterwards, is important to me. Very important to me, especially being a fellow military veteran. And if you're a military veteran out there, I'm telling you, we do not get the credit that we deserve. We don't. You can say thank you for your service a million times till you're blue in the face, but, an apology doesn't mean anything without changed behavior. And if you American people don't change your behavior and listen and heed our warnings and take very, very seriously the things that I and many like me are trying to get through your heads, then, you're going to start seeing a lot more of this. Suicide's already a big, big problem with military people. And you know why? Because they feel like their own countrymen turned their back on them. They feel like they were lied to by their government, which they were. They feel betrayed. They feel like all that loss of life was in vain. All the world wars. I mean, the Persian Gulf War alone was the most privatized, televised war probably in human history. It was normalized. War is normalized in America now. They put the war on the TV screen for all to see. You think they showed you everything? No, you guys, you all saw a small piece. You guys all saw a small piece of what really was going on. Which is common, people. At this point, you get it. You get it. I've been talking about it since podcast 1, episode 1. A lot of military people feel very disillusioned, very upset. A lot of us are asking ourselves, what was all of this for? I mean, I know what the status quo and the culture was for me when I joined back in 1995, I believe it was. 96. I was in the delayed entry program for a year, so I actually signed the papers when I was 17 years old. 16 years old. I had just turned 17 when I graduated from high school, and I went to boot camp 2 months to the day that I graduated from high school. So just to give you a little background on me and how real life became for me at an early age, how real world things I was exposed to at a very young age. And I never thought that my situation was that weird. I thought a lot of people that were 17, 18-year-old kids growing up in rural Minnesota or rural anywhere for that matter. I didn't know anything about the world at the time. But the reason why we all in my era joined are vastly different than why people are still joining today. And honestly, if you're a person who's thinking about joining the military, or you're somebody who has just recently joined the military, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your reasons why. And if you tell me the post 9/11 GI Bill is the only reason, then here's my advice. If you join the military to get college money from the government like I did, I have some very, very good advice that you need to hear, and it's from my own experience, okay? Before you utilize that GI Bill, before you take government indebted money and use it to pursue an education, please have a vague idea of what you want to do with your life. I made the mistake of getting a Bachelor's of Arts degree in sociology, one of the liberal arts, like gender studies and, I'm not going to list them all off. You guys know. Critical race theory. Oh, man. The new brainwashing. And so don't use that money and do what I did and go to school and get a stupid, worthless degree that you're not going to use to get any type of real job in the real world when you graduate. I learned that the hard way. I was, I want to say stupid and ignorant, but really I was just not educated. And I didn't have anybody that ever came into my life and gave me more useful, more higher quality information so that I could make better decisions for my use of what was then the Montgomery GI Bill. You guys get a lot more money now. The post 9/11 GI Bill, ho, ho, ho. You know what that is? That's bribery. That's paying you off to keep joining the military so that you can go and fight the wars for the big club. And a lot of you aren't going to like what I'm about to say. But as a veteran, my best advice to you young people is don't join the military. Don't do it. And here's why. Because the reasons why I joined the military were it all ended up to be bullshit. Bullshit. It was bullshit. I'm proud of my service. I'm glad I did it. It made me a man at a very early age by force. And I appreciate the skills and the mental toughness and the belief in myself that I developed while I was in the military. It was not an easy road. Physically, much easier physically than, say, the Marines in the Army or Navy SEALs or Special Boat Unit or any of the more specialized fields in the military. But it was not easy mentally. No military service, no branch is easily mentally. Maybe the Air Force, but I don't know. I don't really know enough about the Air Force to judge or to say anything on. I just know that Every other service rips on the Air Force all the time. And I don't know if it's warranted or not. It's probably like the Marines ripping on the Navy all the time. I'm a squid. You're a jarhead. Yada. You guys know. I'm sure you've heard it before. For me personally, when someone says, hey, thank you for your service, I'm just like, shut up. Shut up. That's what goes through my head. That's not what you hear or see. I say, thank you very much. No, don't worry about it. You kind of blow it off. Some egomaniac service members love that stuff. They just think, they think they're owed it or something. And maybe some of them are, depending on what they did. Maybe they are owed it. We don't walk around with our service record and our ribbons on our chest all the time. So, you people, you civilians, you don't really know who you're talking to sometimes. You might be talking to someone like me that just was in the military for 4 years and was, a scope dope operations specialist, nobody. But there are people out there that have done serious things and participated in achieving very serious, important things that demand our respect, your respect, my respect. It's not an easy life. And the sacrifices that the families of military service members have to make, they're just as much service members as the active duty and the reservists, in my opinion, because they have to live through the mental anguish and toughness. They have to live through what we're going through. They have to live through the separation from their family, the missing important events. Puts a lot of strain on relationships and marriages. I don't even know how. I remember being single and young in the military, and I remember seeing guys coming back from deployment that the first time they ever saw their unborn or newborn son or daughter, not unborn, newborn son or daughter, was when they returned from deployment. Like, they weren't even able to be there for the birth of their children. I mean, the sacrifices that people make in the military to do what we do, you guys, some of you civilian people, you will never understand. And when you talk shit about the military, and when you say that we're horrible, terrible people that are just going around the world trying to smash faces in and take over, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no frame of reference, and it makes me sick when I hear you people run your mouths. It's gross. It's disgusting. You enjoy a freedom that you are allowed to criticize because of what we have done for you. So keep your mouths shut and show some respect to people that served in our military. And don't do it for me, do it for yourself. Have some self-respect. Have some knowledge that makes you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to show respect. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Otherwise, you're just part of the people that are destroying the incentive of the ambitious. You're the devil. We've been over this before. You people are evil. Evil. You're evil people. You progressives and you lefties don't like hearing that, do you? I bet you don't. But you know what? You're evil. You are evil. And I want you to take that to your grave. If you claim to be one of these Trotskyite, Marxist, Leninist, communist, whether underground 1960s, willing to bomb places in the United States, even though your parents are rich, wealthy, very well-to-do, you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth, and you have the audacity to talk shit to the military. You have the audacity to blow up your own country in the name of Marxist-Leninist idealism, or ideals, rather. It's so disgusting and pathetic. It just makes me sick. You people make me sick. The Bill Ayerses of the world. You know who Bill Ayers is? You guys ever heard of the Weather Underground? Any of their ilk. If we were back in the wild, wild west, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. You know what? If the revolution ever comes, you're the people that are dying first. In my humble opinion. I digress. You know what? You guys can spin that however you want to. You don't like that I said it? I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. I serve my country honorably so I can actually have an opinion on the subject. Thank you very much. Okay, now that I got that off my chest, let's play this clip. And, you know, like I said, this is sad, guys. This is going to be sad. But you need to hear it. Some of you people really need to hear this stuff. You really do.
Okay, it's January 31st, a little bit after 1:30.
Hours before Deputy Clyde Kerr III filmed this video's suicide note.
I was kind of hoping to see the Super Bowl.
He would take his own life in front of the Lafayette Sheriff's Department. It was the end of his shift, the last day on the job after working with the department for 30 years. Kerr was in the military and spent time in Afghanistan and Iraq.
I've served with a full heart in the military. After that, got back into law enforcement.
He was a hero to the students at the local school where he served as a resource officer.
Listen, y'all entrust me to safeguard your little ones, your small ones, your thing that's most precious to y'all, and I did that well.
He loved his job and he loved serving his country and his community.
Loved my job. Loved it. Loved every aspect of it. Finally found something I could call my own and made it my own.
But he could no longer stay quiet about the injustice he saw within law enforcement.
This killing that's going on, especially by the police, which I am, I can't abide by this no more. I'm not having anything to do with this nonsense anymore.
He reached his tipping point and denounced the thin blue line of silence.
No, this is a very big deal to me. This is a tipping point. And just to continue to think that we can just do what we've been doing and just hit the status quo like that and people, no whatsoever. This is wrong. It needs to be resisted against. And you have an obligation and a duty to do that.
Duty.
Because if not, you're complacent. As if I would be complacent if I continue just doing what I am doing and not saying anything. I try to bring things to people's attention, little small things. But, you know, it's a system. And I'm a small cog in this whole big machine. So all this code of blue silence, no. Sorry. I'm going to be on the right side of this one.
He goes on to address the lack of political accountability, its consequences, and victims of police violence.
And you're getting away with it. When is enough going to be enough for people? Huh? Seriously. Y'all are radicalizing people, and then when they buck and they want to go against the system because it's not for them, you come down on them with a hammer. Let's go down on this. Both of them shot in his own apartment. How that work? How does that work? Chilling on his couch. I don't give a damn if he had weed in the apartment. You're going to execute somebody for that? Oh no, y'all are good for that. You break up families for a plant, this war on drugs and this nonsense. But now it's starting to get legal because big pharmaceutical companies stand to make billions off of it, and they paid off the lobbyists, who in turn have started ushering the way it needs to go for them. The countless people who are doing time behind that. How do you even make amends for that? You can't. This Floyd?
George Floyd.
Man.
Breonna Taylor.
This shit's not right. I'm telling you, it's not. If this feels right to you as a person, then something is wrong with you. This is the furthest thing from right.
He also addresses the political divide in America and the divide and conquer agenda.
People are so busy calling themselves Republicans and Democrats, they don't even just be a decent person anymore. That is sad. There's more good people than bad. Y'all need to figure that shit out real quick, because it's the truth. It is the absolute truth. And if y'all ain't got each other's back, then you're going to continue to divide and conquer and just sow dissension and everything between people who actually probably make be a good ally.
At the end of the video, he points out that some might think he is mentally unwell.
And I would rather be considered crazy and whatever they were going to say about me. Oh, he was under the influence of something. No, that is an easy cop-out just to say that I am. Because that will then allow a dialogue not to be started. It needs to be talked about. This is insane, about to go off the rails.
He suggests solutions such as regular mental health evaluations and more transparency within law enforcement.
Listen, I understand we have a tough job, but we signed up for this. We need help. Help. Mental health and wellness, they definitely need that. Look, we need, I don't know how you're going to do it. We get people get one psych eval or just checkup. And that's in the hiring process. It needs to happen. And it's in the stigma that is surrounding it needs to be lifted too, because that is insane. We need help. People need help. It's okay to say you need help. More transparency. I understand certain things can't be divulged, but the public doesn't trust us. We are losing the public's trust. We are losing the public's trust. We serve at the pleasure of the public.
And his last words were haunting and inspiring.
This is not protesting against police brutality and everything else that comes along with it in this broken, wicked, worldly system that does not give a damn about people. I don't know what it cares about, but it don't care about us. It truly don't. It does not. It does not. So, I hope y'all do something with that. I know what I gotta do. Search your heart, find out what you gotta do. Everybody has a different role to play. This part, this one, this is mine.
Deputy Clyde Kerr III, your words will not go unheard. Your life was not sacrificed in vain. And that's from Police the Police. It's probably one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. This man's protest against, all the things that he sees wrong with the system was to commit suicide after 30 plus, probably 40 almost years of service to his country and to his community. And not only did the system not give a crap, but the public clearly doesn't give a crap. Or else you're just a bunch of cowards. Because nobody has the balls to talk about this stuff. Nobody has the balls to get in the face of their elected officials and force them to make certain changes. And the people that stormed the Capitol steps, like I said before, I don't think there's a lot of philosophical roots in that. I think they were just radicalized via social media, which I've talked about many times, is very easy to do. But what about the real heroes that live in this country? What about the real people that have served honorably? What about the real people that have saved lives? What about the people that get up every morning, leave their wives or their husbands and their children, and go to a job where they could die at any second with the snap of a finger? Where is our help and gratitude and thank you? And hey, you know what? Maybe I'll even take some time to volunteer and maybe be able to help out, because these people volunteer their lives for me every single day that they are breathing still. And a lot of you people take that for granted because it's there all the time and you think it's there all the time. You're just like, that's just the way it is. Those people are always going to be there. Yeah, well, what if they're not? What if one day those people aren't there? And what if the day comes where you have to police yourself? You have to police your family. You have to police your community. Because, like, what did he say in that video? We are losing the public's trust. That's kind of the story for 2020 that isn't COVID related. The story of 2020 is police brutality. Racial and otherwise. Yes, I know. The media wants to just shove the racism aspect of it down your throats as if that's the only part of it. And that's exactly why they do it. Because they don't want people talking about the other part of it. They want you just talking about the racism. They don't want you talking about the systemic problems, the systematic, same old status quo that happens every day in the institution. It's an institutional problem, is what this man was saying. Clyde Kerr took his life. It was his protest against police brutality. I will not participate in this institution anymore because he disagreed. You know, it kind of reminds me of when Ronald Reagan said, you know, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. Sooner or later, people that are moral, upright, you know, God-fearing, just, decent, pragmatic, people that use their reason because they have the best intentions of the whole in mind with every decision that they make. It's how they live their lives. More of you should aspire to be that. More of you should find the courage, have the balls. Swallow your pride. Check your ego. Give thanks. Desire to be a part of something bigger than yourself. You will find so much more joy in this life if you do that. Otherwise, it's all ego, hate, jealousy, resentment. I'm the best, you're the worst. I should get whatever I want. You should all bow at my feet. Screw the middle, screw cooperation. Let's just be radicalized, fundamentalists, lefties or righties. And let's just fight. If that's really what you guys want, let's do it. Let's fight. Let's fight it out. You want a civil war? Is that really what you want? I mean, that's what's coming, people. It's a small part of the big plan. Divide and conquer. If you follow me on social media, you know that I talk about the divide and conquer agenda at length all the time. It's probably annoying. And a lot of you who follow me on social media probably can't believe that I got to episode 10 before I even brought up divide and conquer. Because this is an area, people, this is an area of expertise for me. A lot of the stuff I've talked about thus far on this podcast has been stuff that I've read about, stuff that I kind of know about, you know, stuff that's, you know, very general, philosophical, you know, base level for people like me. And that's not my ego talking, that's just reality. There are people that are as educated as me out there walking around. There are people that have set foot on 5, 6 other continents, have walked with, learned from the local people, learned the customs of many, many, many countries around the world, had experiences that were different than the American experience. And so many of those experiences over time, you put together like the Yelp reviews I was telling you guys about, and you find the common themes. And you know what I learned in my experiences traveling the world? I learned that we are all so much more similar than we are different. No matter what the color of your skin is, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your sexual orientation is, None of that crap, base level identity politics garbage makes any difference. What matters is merit, value, worth, decency, the desire to find commonalities, pragmatism, realistic fixes to real, not lied about or bullshitted like they're not there problems. Why don't more of us aspire to that? Why is there a cult of anti-intellectualism in this country? Why are you afraid of being smarter? Why? You're just a bunch of fucking cowards. Pardon my French. A lot of you, you're just a yellow-bellied, no backbone, little bitch coward that would sell out your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend. You'll sell out anybody just to avoid having to face consequences, having to face responsibility, duty, honor. None of that means anything to you. You're the scum of the earth to me. People like you, you're the most disgusting parts of the human condition. You exemplify the most disgusting parts of human nature to me. The complete and utter lack of gratitude for people that are out there busting their ass, sacrificing themselves for the greater good so that you can be a little ignorant, insignificant, disrespectful, ungrateful little prick. And you deserve to get your ass kicked. You really do. You deserve, and you know, a lot of you walking around acting like this, what I'm talking about right now, I really feel like that's what it is. No one ever whooped your ass in your lifetime. You somehow weaseled your way out of any having to face the reality of your entire life. And the only thing separating you from being a decent person is that no one ever knocked you in your face when you started running your mouth. Maybe you need that. Maybe some of you just need to get punched in the face once, and maybe you'll be changed. Who knows? I don't know. You know, I don't know if Mike Tyson really said this, but I'm pretty sure I saw a meme at some point in time on the social medias where he was like, you know, social media gave you guys all the platform. You know, now you forget that, you know, it gives you the ability to be disrespectful to someone without getting blasted in the face for it. Some of the conversations in the comment sections I see on social media, boy, if you people were having those conversations face to face, there'd be a lot of blood. There'd be a lot of teeth missing. There'd be a lot higher murder rate in this country if some of you were having those conversations face to face. So keep that in mind when you run your mouth, because you never know when someone might just show up. You never know how crazy the person you're running your mouth to on social media really is. I'm just telling you. I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm just trying to be helpful. But hey, back to, Deputy Clyde Kerr, man, rest in peace. And the reason why I'm talking about your story today, Clyde Kerr, if you're listening to this or if you're looking down from the heavens, is because that's what you asked for, man, and you deserve it. Thank you for your service to this country and to your community. Thank you. And thank you for giving your life and making the ultimate sacrifice so that others can learn and grow as individuals. I don't know what kind of person can listen to a story like that and not give thanks and have gratitude and self-reflect. And, if that story doesn't make you self-reflect about the kind of person you are, then maybe you are the devil incarnate. Maybe you are Satan's little helpers. And maybe the world would be a better place without you. And if you want the Civil War, sooner or later you shall have it. And we will see who laughs last. Rest in peace, Deputy Clyde Kerr III. A lot of problems with the police department. In my humble opinion, they need to be paid more. And in my humble opinion, the military needs to be paid more. And in my humble opinion, those people should not have to give their lives because a government that treats them like dispensable, disposable heroes runs the show the way they've been running it ever since World War II. And even before. We've been over all this stuff. It makes me sick to my stomach that when I hear stories like this and when I see that there are people in this world that so easily disrespect people that have gone above and beyond on a level that is incomprehensible so that you can walk around being a little piece of shit in the United States of America. I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back. All right, really quick, I want to throw in a word from the sponsor of this podcast, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, and here's why. First of all, it's free. No money down. So you can be as creative as you want. It's amazing. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast even for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I love it. It is very, very easy. If you don't have to be crazy tech savvy in order to use the app. It's awesome. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Politics and Punk Rock Podcast. We just listened to Clyde Kerr, and you just heard me get kind of upset about people that are disrespectful and ungrateful to people that sacrifice themselves for the greater good every day of their lives. And I really do feel that way. Everything I just said is absolutely true. And, everything I just said is I absolutely believe that, and I think is, it needs to be said more often, man. People, it really does. Like, I'm talking to myself right now. I feel like I feel like I should be in front of the world saying this, but anyway, Clyde Kerr, that's, his story is sad and enlightening, and he's talking about a lot of the same stuff that I've been talking about, and there's a lot of people that serve in the military that have very similar outlooks on this country that I do. It's very common. The way I feel and think is very common amongst people that served in the military. So just keep that in mind when you start labeling people, domestic terrorists and QAnoners, I guess. I mean, QAnon's a whole different thing. I mean, obviously it was ridiculous conspiracy theory, but that doesn't mean that conspiracies aren't happening, people. That was just a nice false front. QAnon was... oh, man, you guys. That QAnon conspiracy was used so that you people could dismiss conspiracy theories altogether. They needed a scapegoat. They needed to tell you a story that they could use to ultimately demonize the people that believed it and thought about that stuff in those, terms and that frame of reference. And then they pumped it out on the mainstream media and made you all look like fools. And then they used it to come after you and, all these people are going to be brought to justice, and now we got to be careful about the domestic terrorists. Well, you know what? Some of those people actually had real philosophical and real lived life experiences that makes them, sympathetic to that mentality. Yes, the means and the method was wrong. I do not condone, nor do I, you know, I denounce. I do not agree with the storming of the Capitol in the way that it was done. But I also think that it was kind of a by design event. It was kind of a portrayed, made for TV movie, like a lot of stuff that you see on your stupid TV is. You guys ever seen the movie Wag the Dog? Go watch the movie Wag the Dog. They literally create a fake war and sell it to the American public via the media. And the entire country believes that they're at war, and it's literally just a TV show. They filmed it all. Everyone that you see that is in this country that's being attacked in this war, this is in the movie Wag the Dog, they're all actors. That sound like anything that you may have heard of in the recent real future? You ever heard of a crisis actor? You ever heard of how anytime the TV airs something that, oh, there's a school shooting here, or there's this happened there, or, I'm not saying that school shooting, none of it happened, and I'm not saying COVID's not real, like a lot of these idiots. But, there is a middle ground between believing everything hook, line, and sinker, and being skeptical to the point where you're like, this part of the story is accurate, but this part of the story is not. This part of the story is garbage. So, don't be stupid and don't believe the media narrative that every single person that participated in the storming of the Capitol steps are QAnoners. First of all, that's incorrect. That's a lie. Some of them were, but not all of them. But the sentiment behind all of that was, a deep-seated disgust with what our government is doing. And what did KGB guy say? Remember KGB guy? He said that the only way that anything's going to change is if patriots forcibly make the United States government change their policies. So in order to prevent a real uprising and a real organized effort by Americans to go and force their government to do anything, do you know what they did? They created QAnon. So and it's like controlled conflict theory. They control both sides. They control the George Soros Black Lives Matter left-winger movement, and they controlled the QAnon beer drinking, red-blooded American, probably Republican side. So they pitted the two sides together, divide and conquer, so that they could control the outcome. What was the outcome? We're living it, people. Reduced freedom. Pretty soon you're going to need a vaccine by force. If you don't get it, you won't travel. Might not even be able to leave your state sometimes. Can't get into concerts. Can't live anything resembling a social life anymore. They got you by the balls, people. This is what the government does. I don't understand how you people don't see this yet. If you've lived, if you were alive and you understood what was happening in this world when 9/11 happened, and your opinion of the before and after isn't vastly different to this day, I don't know what the hell you guys are paying attention to. What are you doing? You're walking through life with blinders on, having tunnel vision. It's like you're only seeing, two colors of the spectrum. It is just crazy to me that you people don't see how the government just plays you like a fiddle with that media and with that TV and with the mind manipulation, the thought manufacturers, manufacturing consent. That's Noam Chomsky. I haven't even talked about Chomsky on this podcast yet, but I'll probably talk about him at some point in the future too. Right now, I want to play a little part by George Carlin. And George Carlin's going to come back in my podcast and make a visit repeatedly, probably. This is a bit where it says George Carlin talks about our similarities and our differences. But what he's really saying is he's explaining the divide and conquer agenda to you people without you even realizing it. He's explaining how they divide us up into little groups so that they can control us very easily. Here we go, people. Welcome back to the Politics and Punk Rock Podcast. God, I cannot say that 3 times fast to save my life. Welcome back, people, to the Politics and Punk Rock Podcast. From the afterlife, Mr. George Carlin. On the Divide and Conquer agenda.
Well, tell you what. Now, to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences. Because that's all you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing, happens to work. You know, anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything you can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs. So stirring up the shit is something I like to do from time to time, but I also like to know that I can come back to these little things we have in common, little universal moments that we share separately, the things that make us the same. They're so small we hardly ever talk about them. Do you ever look at your watch and then you don't know what time it is? And you have to look again, and you still don't know the time. So you look a third time and somebody says, "What time is it?" You say, "I don't know." Do you ever notice how sometimes all day Wednesday, you keep thinking it's Thursday? And it happens over and over all day long. And then the next day, you're all right again. Do you ever find yourself standing in one of the rooms in your house and you can't remember why you went in there? And 2 words float across your mind: Alzheimer's disease. You ever been talking to yourself and somebody comes in the room and you have to make believe you were singing? And you hope to God the other person really believes there's a song called "What Does She Think I Am? Some Kind of Putz?" Little experiences we've all had. You ever been sitting in a railroad train in a station and there's another train sitting right next to you and one of them starts to move and you can't tell which one it is? How about when you're out on a small boat on a windy day? You ever been out rocking back and forth for 3 or 4 hours trying to keep your balance? Rough seas, little boat. Then you get back into the shore and you're standing on the dock and you could swear there was something inside of you that was still out there rocking. Did you ever try to pick up a suitcase you thought was full, but it wasn't? And you go, "Doo?" And for just a split second, you feel really strong. How about when you're looking through a chain link fence? Did you ever notice if you're just the right distance from a chain link fence, sometimes it seems to go, "Doo?" What is that? How do they do that? Did you ever try to tell somebody they have a little bit of dirt on their face? You can never get them to rub the right spot, can you? Say, "You got a little bit of dirt right here." They always go, "Where? Here?"
He's pointing to the other side of his face.
And you just want to slap the bastard.
All right, so the reason why I played that clip is because, it's really funny. Like, George Carlin was great at talking about, the human condition and talking about the things that, we all share. I mean, we can all relate to all that stuff he just said. But before that, I wanted you to hear what he said, that all the government and the media are ever talking about are the things that separate us. Why? Why do you think that is? It's because of divide and conquer. They want us to be fighting each other? Why do you think racism is such a thing just shoved down our throats, in our faces, all the time, at length? Because that is media manipulation, people. They want you to focus on it. They want you to say to yourself, this is a really, really big deal. And I'm not trying to undercut its importance. I know not being racist is a very important thing. And if you're a feeble-minded person, the only people that I've ever met in my life that are real, truly racist are the stupidest people I've ever known. The dumbest people I've ever talked to. Why are we concerned with those dipshits so much in the media? And why do we allow the media to build it up to such a level that now it's like Charles Manson's dream come true? You know, Charles Manson, crazy ass Charlie Manson, said back in the day that he prophesized there's going to be a race war, white versus black, in the future. He might even tell you that some people in the CIA were trying to make that happen. You know, don't let your spy movies and your 007s and your Mission Impossibles fool you, people. That is propaganda. That is media manipulation. They want you to think that the intelligence community, the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, are benevolent heroes. Why do they get to be the heroes in all of our movies and TV shows? Because that's what they want you to think. They don't ever want you to question their motives. They don't ever want you to question their actions. It's all by design. Divide and conquer. It is a method of control as old as time, immemorial. This has been this has been used so many times throughout history to control populations and to keep status quo of the ruling elite in place. I know. All this is kind of hard to take sometimes. I know, I understand. I get it. I know how you feel. It's not, none of this stuff is fun, and that's why all of you run away from it. That's why I keep asking you people to find the courage, because, 90% of you are cowards. You're adults by age, but you're children by brain. And I told you in a previous episode, you don't get to be that. You don't get to make fruitful use of your freedom if you don't develop yourself. This is going to be a common theme in my podcast. And you don't get to be mentally 19 and stupid and ignorant your entire life. I'm sorry. If you want to live in a free society, you don't get to do that. I'm sorry. You have to get better. You have to get more mature, period. If you want to be a stupid idiot your entire life, go move to a socialist communist country. Go do it. Tell me what you think. Report back. Shoot me an email. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your experiences. Can't wait to hear it. What did KGB guy say? He said, America's the last country of freedom and opportunity in this world. Once we're gone, people, I'm telling you, you people don't realize. You progressive lefty social justice warrior types, you are going to be the people that KGB guy was talking about. You're going to be the people that helped destabilize the nation with your Marxist-Leninist bullshit propaganda. And then once they don't have, the big party doesn't have any use for you anymore, they're going to line you up against the wall and shoot you. And you know what? Good riddance to bad rubbish, in my humble opinion. Maybe the world would be a better place without you stupid idiots running around, running your mouth, crying at your PTA meetings. Oh, God. Equal rights. No, we already have equal rights. Sorry. Just because the police departments are inherently, systemically, historically racist, and the problems are institutional. I know that racists still exist out there, people, but you're going to have a really hard time convincing me that it is on such a grand scale that we need to have the government step in and force us to be not racist? Is that what the goal is? How are you going to do that? That's clearly not their real plan, because if it was, there'd be martial law in the streets right now. Their real plan is what KGB guy said. Slow, undiscoverable, under your noses. I forget which one of the founding fathers said it, but I say it all the time. Slow usurpations over time. Little, piece by piece, introducing. One little thing here, TSA. One little thing here, universal database for, what did the Patriot Act do? It created a, I don't know if it was AI or blockchain or what it was, but all the intelligence communities put all their information together. And I mean, it's a way more sophisticated, apparatus now. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not, but the point is that it doesn't matter if you do good or evil in this world. It can be used against you, regardless of what team you think you're on. So, sorry to tell you. But that was George Carlin, people. George Carlin he was just explaining to you pretty much the divide and conquer agenda. And then he ended with all those little things that we all have in common. And I think it's hilarious, and I really like that bit because, we are all the same, people. We are so much more similar than we are different. We all want the same thing so much more than people realize. And the only thing keeping you from knowing that is your TV. Fact. Man. I'm going to play you guys another clip. This one is a little bit crazy. The guy in this clip is very articulate. He's a very fast talker. I don't know if when he filmed this video, he just did a line of cocaine or meth or something, or if he just has maybe, some characteristic about him that is kind of goofy. I don't know. If you saw the video, you would know what I mean. But you guys are just going to listen to him. And I want you to, be open-minded. This guy's going to go over a lot of information, and it's going to sound crazy to you. But there's a lot of truth, I hate to say it, in what this guy is saying. And there's a lot to unpack here because of how fast he talks. But I want you to hear it. I think I posted this in the private group, Andrew for America Comedy and Commentary. And I think I said, man, I love this man. He's my inner monologue, because a lot of the stuff this guy says, I probably couldn't say it better myself. So here we are. Take a listen to this.
Back in the 1900s, when the Rockefeller Foundation decided that they needed to fund the public school to prison pipeline. Why? Because the best way to control people is first control the minds of the children. Fill their minds with fictitious nonsense, so by the time they reach adulthood, they can then pass that on to their children. Then this cycle becomes generational. They decided that wasn't enough, so in the 1940s and 50s, they implemented Operation Paperclip and Operation Mockingbird, bringing neo-Nazi scientists and psychologists into the country, giving them sanctuary and citizenship, and allowing them to infiltrate government and media. Why? Because these neo-Nazi scientists had mastered the art of propaganda and deception. Matter of fact, they ran one of the greatest propaganda and deception campaigns that Germany had ever seen. The U.S. deep state and shadow government knew that in order to maintain control over the U.S. population, they needed to implement propaganda and deception and minimize free thought at all costs. So they infiltrated two main sources of the U.S. population's information: U.S. News and Hollyweird. So now whatever Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite, or any other news outlet tells you, that has to be your truth. Whatever actor or actress gets in front of the mic and tells you, that has to be the truth. One of the greatest brainwashing techniques the world has ever seen, tell, lie, vision, or the one-eyed devil, which contains mind manipulation, sorcery, and hypnotism. So now when you see a crisis actor get shot on TV, well, it has to be real. Why? Because the media told you it is. The media told you that that person died. I mean, whatever CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC says, it has to be real, right? Nah. Us critical thinkers realize that that one-eyed devil, that tell, lie, vision, is actually symbolic of the dog that leads the sheep. And since most sheep have been trained to rely on the media instead of practicing critical thinking and doing research themselves, they'll never know that what I'm saying right now is true. Just keep in mind that whenever you rely on your enemy to save you, historically, that rarely works in your favor.
Rarely.
But then again, most of you have been brainwashed into believing that you have no enemy. Therein lies the problem.
Therein lies the problem. I love that guy. I love that guy. Pause this podcast. Rewind it. Listen to it again. I don't know where this clip came from. This one I actually pulled from a friend of mine who posted it in our group. So I don't know where he got it from, so I don't know where it is on YouTube. But, rewind this podcast. Listen to it again. I mean, the guy just summed up literally everything I'm trying to get across to you people. We are walking amongst you, my fellow Americans. People like Clyde Kerr. People like this gentleman that you just heard speak. Veterans, active duty, police officers. Some of us are good, decent, knowledgeable. People. I mean, if there's anyone in a society that should be looked up to, it's the people that sacrifice for you every day. Every day. They put their lives on the line to keep the glory going. The glory of America. The glory of whatever God they pray to. The glory of the human condition. Why don't we thank these people more? Why are they not paid more than anybody in this world? You know why? Because money corrupts. Lord Acton, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you can't give the good a whole bunch of money, people. You know why teachers don't get paid very well? Because their job, they do it from the heart. It's who they are. People that serve in the military, a lot of them, it's who they are. They believe in their country. It's not about the money. Same thing, I bet the same thing can be said for police officers. Now, do people stray from that mentality and go do devilish things so that they can get the payoff? Of course. Happens all the time. Happens more often than not. I live in Minneapolis. I drove through ground zero of the George Floyd situation and everything that ensued afterwards. The violence. I mean, I have pictures of apartment buildings that were above businesses that were boarded up. And these people had to spray paint on the boards, "Please don't burn, people live upstairs." And the people that did all that stuff were funded by the big club, people. Sorry to tell you. I know this doesn't sound like the media narrative that you've been spoon-fed, does it? Yeah, I sound like a conspiracy theorist, don't I? Yeah, I'm sure I do. I'm sure I sound like you've probably already labeled me, this guy's crazy. He's a crazy conspiracy theorist. He's just playing conspiracy theory on his podcast. You people, pardon my French, I'm going to swear a lot in this one. You people are fucking stupid. You people are the stupidest fucking morons I've ever seen or heard in my entire life. And the world would be a better place without you. I'm going to go take a break And when I come back, we're going to play some punk rock and we're going to have some fun. We're going to turn up the optimism. And I'm not going to talk about this stuff anymore. Divide and conquer is something that I could talk about for weeks. But it's also the topic that makes me the most upset. So I'm going to put a fork in it for today. I think I've got my point across. And I just hope you people can find it in your hearts, in your heart of hearts, at some point in your lives, to give thanks to the people that sacrifice for you. Because you're a piece of shit human being if you don't, in my humble opinion. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So yes, today's theme, people, is divide and conquer. And I really want you guys to start researching the divide and conquer agenda. Look it up, read about how it's been used throughout history, and once you get to a certain knowledge base, ask yourself, is this what's happening in the United States right now, today? And if the answer to that question is no to you, then you're wrong. Excuse me. I'm just kidding. But divide and conquer is real. And, today I'm going to play a song by a band called the Black Pacific. And the Black Pacific is a side project of, I think it was the singer for Pennywise. Might have been the guitar player too. I don't know. I really forget. But I know one of the members of the Black Pacific was in Pennywise. Two bands I absolutely love. And this song is called The System. And the chorus of the song, the end of the line goes, I thought I was using the system, but the system was using me. And people, that's what the divide and conquer agenda is. That's what is behind a lot of these false flags and crisis actors and wag the dog type of stuff. How do you know what you see and what you hear on your TV screen is true and real, actually happening? Just because you see a bunch of images? There's a movie back in the day called Swordfish. Travolta, Halle Berry, and there's a line in that movie that I just keep with me, and when I think about this stuff, I always think about this line, because that guy, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but spoiler alert, Travolta's character ends up being a terrorist. He ends up being a guy working for the big club, pretty much, and he uses people to get what he wants, and he uses the methods of, hot girls, money, nightclubs, popularity, fame. And there's a scene, I think the opening scene, where he talks about misdirection, and he says, what the eyes see and the ears hear, the mind believes. That's divide and conquer at its core. What your eyes see and what your ears hear, your mind believes. And it's a magic trick, people. Hollyweird, the tell-lie vision that our fast-talking friend, just got done telling you people. I mean, research Walt Disney. Research a lot of your favorite, Hollywood filmmaking, directors, companies, etc. You're going to find a lot of disgusting stuff. And, Corey Feldman, Jenna Jameson. I mean, you guys have seen a lot of these old child stars or porn stars or anybody affiliated with the Hollywood elite have been coming out one by one telling you stories. Like, you guys, people, there is a lot of truth in that whole QAnon conspiracy. But it's bullshit because, like any of those conspiracy videos, they start off telling you a whole bunch of factual stuff, real stuff that's actually happening, and then somewhere along the way, once they have you lulled in, and they're about to hook you and pull you out of the water so you can become a nice meal later, That's when they twist the narrative and they start running some stupid crap by you. And if you still believe that crap, they got you, boy. And that's where they got these QAnon people. They started telling you about the Hollywood elite. They started telling you about how rich and powerful forces in the world are using sex and murder and, whatever to, control narratives and to get people to do what they want. Which is a lot what John Perkins was telling you guys about. Like the economic hitman guy told you guys that. Like, this stuff is commonplace. This stuff is used around the world. These are the tools of empire. They tell you all that stuff that's actually real and actually happening in the beginning of those QAnon videos. But then they try to tell you, oh, guess what? Trump's in on it. He's going to give you guys some signals. And then, oh, by the way, JFK Jr. is alive. He's going to come back to life. And Trump's, great uncle or whatever was, how did the story go? It was one of the guys that was friends with the Kennedys, and he was involved somehow. And boy, they got you there. If you kept believing everything in those QAnon videos at that point, some of us, that's when we were like, okay. Whoa, wait a second. The adrenochrome part, come on. That might be happening. Who knows? Maybe that actually does happen. I don't know. But that's where it started getting a little far-fetched. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but then I was like, ooh, okay, we're going down a little, we're taking it down the whole reptilian, planet Nibiru level of conspiracies, the flat earth level, if you know what I mean. Boy. But a lot of those conspiracy videos, people, that's how it works. It's propaganda. It was created by a group of people to achieve a very specific goal. It was a psychological operation. Much like the George Floyd situation here in Minneapolis. I remember people posting, hey, this van pulled up and dropped a bunch of bricks on the street corner right across the street from the 3rd precinct. How come there's all these stacks of bricks just magically appearing all over these cities? Gee. It's a psychological operation, people. There's a clip on YouTube. Go look up. Hillary Clinton introduces George Soros. Do you know who George Soros is? You probably hear about him a lot in your conspiracy theory circles. Guess what? He's a living, breathing human being walking on this planet. And his son is in on the game too. The Clinton Foundation. People, I'm telling you, I cannot stop giving you example after example after example of factual things that contribute to my argument. Okay, enough. I'm going to stop talking. This podcast is usually therapeutic for me, but right now I'm kind of upset. This stuff just pisses me off, man. Divide and conquer. When I talk about divide and conquer, my blood pressure is probably like 170 over 110 right now. I gotta stop. Whew. All right, here we go, people. Don't get used by the system. The system that's using you. Here we go. The Black Pacific.
Give it a shot, man. Give it a shot, brother. I don't care about the second sunshine, you're one of the lucky ones. Suck the corporate time. Cause you can take it, don't mean you're getting it. Follow the thin white line. So what's the use if they got your freedom if you don't have shit in your life? It's like a potion, but fun for everyone. Just gotta give it some time. I'm just a part of the machinery. A product of electrical dream. Let the light using the system, but the system was using me. You can't escape it, just go along with it. You're born and working, you die. Just one more idiot is rendered meaningless, and there's an endless supply. So ain't losing your necktie, newsman. Fall for the scraps that you get. Till they erase you, they're coming after you, till you give up and give in. I'm just a product, part of the machinery, body cars, electrical train. I thought I was using the system, but the system was using me.
Oh my god, this solo is so fire.
Using the system, but the system was using. I'm just a product, part of the machinery. Product cars, electrical train. I thought I was using the system, but the system was using me.
Oh boy, I love that song. That song is awesome. That was The System by the Black Pacific. I'm just a product, part of the machinery, part of God's electrical dream. God, I love that line. I thought I was using the system, but the system was using me. This has been episode 10 of the Politics and Punk Rock podcast. I am Andrew for America. Email me at andrewforamerica1984@gmail.com. Send an invite. Join the group Andrew for America Comedy and Commentary on Facebook. Visit the website politicsandpunkrockpodcast.com. Thank you guys for listening. I love you very much. Episode 11's coming soon. And I hope you will be there with me. We'll talk to you guys very, very soon. And, you know, I don't know what your personal opinion about the military is. But, you know, yes, some of the men and women in the military are piece of shit human beings that just love killing. There is some of that. I can't lie about that. That is true. And there's probably some of that in the police force too. Obviously, there's a lot of that. A lot of that in the police departments. You know, but there, it's a union. It's unionized. And this, you know, being a person that believes in unions or does not believe in unions is a whole nother podcast. But just think about the police in this specific instance, people. The union is a gatekeeper. It is a barrier. It is a obstacle that needs to be overcome. If you were going to change anything within the police departments. But don't let them twist those statistics and make you think that it's all racism and all race-based. Don't let your TV and don't let the reality of the numbers fool you. There is a divide and conquer agenda behind everything you have seen on your TV screen in the year 2020 and in the year 2021. And I don't care if you don't, if you didn't see it before you heard me tell you about it today. 2019 and prior, although it was happening and has been happening since long before that. If you just realized it in the year 2020, finally, thank you and I love you. Because I think I said at the beginning of 2020, or actually at the beginning of the COVID rollout, I said, if this doesn't wake people up to the reality of government and to the reality of the big world government club, the big new world order club that we're not in, the United Nations, the Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers, the Council of 500, etc., etc., etc. All the secret societies. You know, talk to your Freemason and your Rosicrucian buddies. They might have some, information for you about what's happening. Go find your friendly neighborhood occultist. They'll give you some info. Satan's little helpers walk amongst you, people. Are they the reptilians? Ooh, the reptilian people. You guys know who David Icke is? Englishman, conspiracy theorist. Yeah, he's another example of a guy that has a lot of great factual information and then runs that by at first, and then he hooks you with a very, very, very far-fetched ridiculousness. That's how they get you, people. It's just another form of media manipulation. It's just another form of propaganda. And if you fall victim to it, don't get upset, because it was designed by psychologists. It was designed by the deep state. It was designed by the intelligence community. And we have declassified paperwork that proves it. I don't understand how you people still question me. I don't get it. The cognitive dissonance is strong with you, young Skywalkers. Do or do not learn this stuff. There is no try. Oh, God. All right, episode 11 coming soon. That's it. Peace out. Be good to each other out there.